It's never my intention to rag on a game when I set out to review it. As per usual, I like to cover games that are enjoyable in one way, shape, or form. And in most cases, even the less than stellar games end up having some redeeming qualities that give them just enough of a push to win me over. But when it's all said and done, sometimes even those charms aren't always enough to salvage it. And that is most certainly the case with today's game, Lightning Legend's Daigo no Daibouken for the PS1. This often forgotten 3D fighter from Konami offers up what should be an excellent 3D brawling experience with more under the hood than one might anticipate, but falls just short where it really matters, the gameplay. But before we touch on that, there are some positives worth highlighting here. Our cast of characters are beautifully represented by the game's excellent models that I feel have a bit more polish than your average 3D fighter of the time. I mean, it's no Soul Blade, but it's easier on the eyes than most. And I must admit the well-drawn, wacky, and unique cast were what drew me to the game in the first place. I mean, how can I ignore a big-boobed wizard fighting a giant marshmallow? Like, that's just not gonna happen. These stages, while not as polished, do a fine job setting the scene for the fisticuffs in the foreground. However, you can tell the extra love and care was put into the characters, and the unique story mode that is chock full of fleshed out cutscenes, secret characters, and more. There's even a neat collectible system featuring over 200 items, all of which can be unlocked by meeting specific requirements or challenges that change depending on your character, how you end a fight, if you use a super at a certain moment or on a certain stage, and so forth. It gives the game a hefty amount of replayability for those curious enough to go the extra mile. The music is definitely worth mentioning, especially since future Silent Hill composer and game director Akira Yamaoka was at the helm. Overall, the tunes are pretty great and cover a wide range of genres, everything from jovial RPG town-like music to straight-up thrash at times. You even get little snippets of what was to come, as a track or two would not be out of place if they found themselves in a Silent Hill game. Back on the topic of gameplay, Lightning Legends does exude some well-captured and smooth animations, making each move really pop with a certain impact, but it comes at the heavy cost of some noticeable lag between inputs and your move actually happening. And this is the core of the game's problem. Buttery animations may look great, but when looks outweigh the central mechanic of your game, then what is truly gained? It's this slight windup of every move that soils the rhythm of each bout and snuffs out your ability to string together satisfying combos. And it's all made worse by the CPU, who seemingly have no problem doing the same to you. Add to that the languid movement that feels like you have shoes made of concrete, and you're bound to see why this game goes unmentioned. Look, inputs do work, as pulling off specials and supers wasn't abhorrent, and the game does work in some deeper features like a dodge button, a Dragon Ball Z style charge-up system, and various counters, but it doesn't hold a candle to Capcom's 3D efforts of the era like the Street Fighter EX games or Rival Schools. Lightning Legends Daigo no Daibouken is one of those games I desperately wanted to like. It has fantastic character design, impressive graphics, diverse music, and amusing and goofy flourishes that help the game stick out from many others in its ilk, but I just can't get into its clunky and flawed fighting mechanics that stall its potential. And it's such a shame, as with a few minor tweaks, I'm almost positive I'd be here telling you that this is a hidden gem and should be recognized as one of the better PS1 3D fighters. But as it stands, I think this one is better left on the shelf in place of some of Capcom's offerings, the Tekken games, or Bloody Roar. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, consider checking out these other videos right here, or even subscribing. Also, if you'd like to throw me a couple of bucks, you can support the show on Patreon.